welcome to Choose Your Own Jane Austen Adventure. My name is Andrea Schwartz. You might know me from Twitter and all the socials as at Austen First Drafts.
And I'm Kim Kalish. You might know me from, oh, hey, was she in that TV show? I'm that girl.
In this panel, Kim and I are going to improvise our own Jane Austen-style story. We're going to be doing it as a screenplay, but you can use all of this information that we're using to plot your own novel, any kind of creative writing that you want.
Yeah, just in case you need to know why we should be doing this, well, Andrea and I are both writers. We've both had things options together and separately. And, you know, you're just going to get a little sneak peek into our process.
Today we're going to be using Save the Cat, which is an invaluable tool if you want to get into screenwriting, or they also have Save the Cat writes a novel. You can do it for books too. Let's get started. We're going to start with characters because all Jane Austen novels are character driven.
When Andrea says that they're character driven, you can have a plot driven movie or a plot driven novel, or you can have a character driven movie or a character driven novel. I personally think the easiest way to explain this, if somebody says, hey, what's that Pride and Prejudice about? The first thing you would say about Pride and Prejudice is, let me tell you about Elizabeth, and then let me tell you about Darcy.
So the great thing also about character driven works is that because the characters are so universal, you can set that story in any time frame you want. We're doing a Regency story today, but the reason why Jane Austen works so well in modern adaptations is because those characters can translate to different times.
So much of the structural concept of a rom-com, that all comes back to Jane Austen structure, and the structure is always based in the character first.
So we're going to start with the heroine. Whatever I roll on the die will be the name.
I'm so excited. I haven't seen this yet.
For the first names, we have 1, Eliza, 2, Mariah, 3, Jane, because you always have to have a Jane in a Jane Austen story, 4, Susan, 5, Louisa, and 6, Margaret. For the last names, we've got 1, Dawes, 2, Williams, 3, Norton, 4, King, 5, Watson, and 6, Young. Okay, we've got a 1 and a 4, so we've got Eliza King.
I immediately have ideas that she's a little studious, maybe. Ooh, is she like a scandalous reader? Does she read those?
Oh, yeah, I like that. Sort of like a Catherine Morland type.
Right. But she's also got like strong opinions on poetry.
She's heard of Byron. She hasn't read him, but she knows who he is.
She knows who he is. Oh, and that can come up later. Like somebody, someone can condescendingly say something like you wouldn't know, and she's like, oh, you're talking about Lord Byron? I know him. What a scandalous dude.
Got sort of a Marianne Dashwood type forming here.
Yeah, I would say something like she's come out in society, but she's maybe it's her 3rd or 4th season. She hasn't been
maybe to separate her from Marianne a little bit, she's a little less on the romantic side, a little bit more on the practical side.
Yeah, I would say that.
Maybe a mix of Eleanor and Marianne.
Yeah. Liza King sounds like she has money. Maybe it's a little mix of an Emma where she's like, I'm not stressed about not getting married. She wants to, but I'm not too stressed about it.
All right, well, I think that's a good starting point to go from our heroine.
Yeah, I can start to see her. It's crazy what a name does, right? And I had never heard these names until right now. A name can trigger what a person looks like, what a person feels like. Eliza King, I'm very excited to meet you.
We've got a heroine, and we need a hero, right?
Yeah.
Or, well, we're going to have a hero for this story, but obviously we can have 2 heroines, we can have 2 heroes, do whatever you want.
Love who you love.
All right, so since I got to choose the heroine's name, why don't we send it over to you, Kim? Did you bring dice with you?
Well, Andrea, since the last time we were here, I had a baby, and so I can't find anything in my house right now, but I can find soft little blocks that we use. So I'm just going to use these as dice. We're just going to pretend and make it work.
Your dice are a little bit unconventional, so we have to explain what the numbers are.
1, Frederick. 2/A, George. 3/triangle, Charles. 4/fox, Robert. 5/zebra, Hugh. 6/checkerboard, James. 1, Campbell. 2/A, Fitzroy. 3/triangle, Grant. 4/fox, Kenworth. 5/zebra, Hargrave. 6/checkerboard, Reynolds.
Here we go. Oh God, it bounced. It's a zebra?
Hugh.
That's a good name. Okay, so now last name. Here we go.
All right.
And go. Oh, God. I put a little too much oomph on it. It's an A.
That is Fitzroy.
Oh.
So we got Hugh Fitzroy. I like it.
Hugh Fitzroy.
Why don't we now figure out what Hugh's profession is? Because I think that informs a lot about who the character is.
Especially the men. Yeah.
Especially. 1, sailor. 2, soldier. 3, gentleman. 4, solicitor. 5, clergyman. Or 6, surgeon. 1. Sailor.
Ooh.
Captain Hugh Fitzroy.
Does that sound like a second son to you?
I mean, a lot of second sons did go into the Navy.
Yeah, I kind of feel like he's like a second or a third son. There ain't no money coming to him. He's going to make his own name.
What if we had sort of an outgoing, gregarious sailor this
Oh, I
time
love
around?
that.
So he's sort of like the guy in every room that you want to talk to.
Right.
He loves going to balls. He has
Charms
friends
him,
everywhere.
dances with all the women.
Yeah.
And then you've got our Eliza. I don't think she's sheltered, but she just sort of, there's a regalness about her. It's a little Emma-y.
Yeah, she's never had to defer to anybody in her life.
Wait, so what if he pays attention to everyone but her?
I like that. So she notices him, and it
rattles
kind of like,
her.
why isn't this guy, reciprocating?
Right.
Everybody asks me to dance first.
Oh, I love that so much. Where she
that's fun.
expects it, and then he's just like, "Here's looking at you," and then he leaves. And not in a Darcy way. We're not going cold. He's going to the fun gals.
Now, are we seeing Eliza as an only child like Emma, or does she have sisters, brothers?
I'm in a Bridgerton mood. I like siblings. I think they're fun.
Siblings,
Fun dynamic to have. And also to play off of her, like maybe she's the eldest and maybe two of the youngers are already married.
They're already settled, and they want to see her settled. So that's kind of their motivation throughout the story, is to push her towards settling.
Well, has she maybe turned down a couple of proposals?
Oh, interesting. So we've got kind of like an Elizabeth Bennet, but if it was mixed with Emma.
I'm just seeing the idea that like she's turned down a couple of marriages. He's not interested in marriage because he's building a career, but the two of them are sort of circling each other.
Kim, do you want to name our siblings so that we can track them?
Yes. Flip. Oh, damn it. 2.
2 is Mariah.
Ooh, I've always loved
I like that. So why don't we give Mariah a married name? Go ahead and roll again.
A 1.
1 is Dawes. Mariah
Dawes.
Dawes. That kind of makes me feel like she married out of her class.
Yes. That does not
Maybe
sound like
married-
a titled name.
No, maybe married gentry, or just...
Or
maybe a
what would have been?
solicitor?
It's like a rich tradesman, right? No, he was a
Oh,
gentleman.
yeah. Well, I think it's maybe a bit of a stretch to have her marry a tradesman or a farmer and still be
In
accepted
society.
into
Yeah.
society. All right, let's see what Mr. Dawes does. 2, soldier. What if he's a colonel?
Ooh, that's
So he
fun.
started off sort of not lower class, but in the gentry.
Yeah, maybe
had to
Mariah's
make his
the
way up.
eldest. And then let's give her a brother.
So why don't you roll for him?
Here we go. And checkered.
Checkered is James. I like it.
That's a good strong name.
Okay, so we've got James King. He's the first son, so he's inheriting. Now, do we have parents still living?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so he hasn't come into his title yet. Are we having them titled?
Maybe
or
the parents aren't alive. Maybe it's just siblings. And so
Maybe
that's
it's just
where the
sibling-
dynamic where she's like, I'll get married eventually. And he's like, well, I ain't your dad.
You can't live here forever.
I kind of like that. That's fun.
Yeah, okay. So James and Eliza live together. Instead of them being titled, because a lot of Austen's families aren't aristocracy. I mean, we do have the edges of the aristocracy. You've got Lady Catherine de Bourgh, Sir Walter Elliot. They are sort of the outliers. But a lot of the families are sort of upper class gentry, like the upper levels of the gentry. So, the Woodhouses, the Darcys.
Yeah. So he's not titled. That's fine.
He's a gentleman.
Yeah, he's a gentleman.
Okay. Now, here's the thing. We can have James be married, and then you can have the wife there sort of playing a, like, Mr. and Mrs. Hearst role with the Bingleys, you know. Or we can have James on the marriage mart himself, and so he's going to the balls with her, and he's looking for his own match.
Oh, interesting. So those are two different paths. I want to change what we said earlier. I don't think she's the eldest anymore. Now I think she's the youngest.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, maybe James is on the mark too. I like that. Okay.
So why don't we have James is like in his late 20s, and Mariah is maybe mid-20s, and we've got Eliza as the baby at 21.
Yeah, I love that.
She's Emma's age.
Mariah takes on kind of the maternal sort of vibe. Maybe she settled pretty close. They're a very close-knit family because they don't have their parents anymore. Maybe he became head of the household pretty early.
Let's just start with our inciting incident and like where our characters are starting from.
Love it.
Well, first of all, let's do the setting. Where are we setting this? Are we doing it in a small town? Are we doing it in Bath?
Andrew, do you see this potato?
I do.
What excellent boiled potatoes. All right, I'm going to put it in my hand. Behind me, you tell me which hand. Potato is country, obviously.
Obviously.
Non-potato hand would be London.
Or Bath.
Or Bath.
Right.
We're in town, baby.
All right, so let's do the event that she can be at. We've got the ball, assembly rooms, a dinner party, a concert,
Or promenade.
maybe just promenade. Yeah. Okay, let's spin the wheel and see what we've got.
Concert.
Ooh, concert. That's fun.
So you can open this whole thing with the kings getting ready in the house. They're running around. It's like the opening of the season and they're doing it. Eliza's a little bored by it. And then James is like, Eliza, we have to get married. It's time. And she's like, yes, but it's all the same people, James. It's all the same this, that, and the other thing. I'm sort of bored by it. And he goes, I understand that. But you've turned down 3 engagements already, blah, blah, blah. Like, set up so that you see who they are and who she is. Then, as they're getting into the concert, everybody's saying hello to them. You find out their parents have died. You find out that they're sort of on their own and they have been for a long time, but maybe they're pretty beloved. She's sort of bored. The concert starts. In walks our guy.
Oh, so he's like maybe just a
little
little bit late.
So Eliza clocks it and she's just like, who is that? And everyone's like, I don't know.
So it's immediate intrigue, but also a little bit of like, who is this guy? Like, thinking he can
He's
show
a
up
rule breaker.
a couple minutes late. Now, Mariah and Colonel Dawes are there as well.
Yes.
Are they sort of like, ooh, look at this, like an eligible gentleman?
Well, I think there's going to be 2 different things,
push.
right? Because the colonel's going to hate that he's late.
And also, like, he's a sailor.
Right, and so there's going to be a lot of like...
No respectable man goes into the Navy. It's all about the Army.
That's good. Write that joke down. That's a great joke. I think Mariah's more interested in Eliza's reaction than she is about who he is, because Eliza perks up a little bit.
And it's maybe the first time that she's really shown any interest, be it negative or positive.
Yeah.
She's just sort of usually like, whatever, not for me.
Yeah.
They're introduced maybe following the concert.
Well, I would think the colonel could make inroads, right?
They invite maybe Hugh to a dinner party. Is it dinner party or should it be maybe like a luncheon or something where it's a little
it
like
could be a
low
luncheon.
key?
I just think they need to be seated next to each other and he needs to ignore her.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. And he needs to meet some other characters because we need to have some jealousy playing in here. Yeah.
Right. Well, she's going to see him being, gregarious with the ladies and the men.
Yeah.
Like, he's just beloved.
Is he staying with someone or is he there on his own? Maybe a relative or a friend?
Or someone that's also interested in Eliza.
I like that, yeah.
Fun.
A secondary romantic, yeah. Now we're like into Act 1. We're like getting into the meat of it. This is generally considered the debate section, and really a lot of things can happen here. It's just characters working their way up to the break into 2, which is going to be the first big incident. The luncheon is going to be where the drama starts.
Yeah.
Why don't we flip a coin for if we're going to have a positive or a negative interaction at the luncheon?
Love that.
So, or like what her reaction to him is.
Love that. Ooh, I have what I want, but I won't say it.
All right, heads. Eliza is pleasantly surprised by this sailor. Tails, something just ain't right.
So we're
It's not
basically
sitting right with her.
we're choosing enemies to lovers or friends to lovers right now.
All right, here we go. Heads. She's pleasantly surprised.
Ooh, interesting.
That doesn't necessarily inform how he's going to react, though.
Oh, that's fair.
This is just Eliza.
Well, then
She
should we flip
sees
again?
something good in him.
You wanna flip
So
again?
should we flip for him? Ooh, tails.
Ooh, scandal.
Something she does, he's
Annoys
not into
him.
it. Maybe she says something about the Navy that really ticks him off. Like, she doesn't intend for it to...
Oh,
but it's just
for
sort
sure,
of her
because
ignorance of the Navy.
her brother-in-law's a colonel, so she says something. Maybe
yeah,
it's a
something about
maybe it's a
the Army over the Navy kind of thing.
maybe it's a repeat of a joke the colonel makes from the night
Oh,
before.
okay, yeah.
It's interpreted quite differently.
But this is the first time when Eliza has actually shown any interest in a suitor.
Yes, and it's also the first time that
She's been shot down.
I want all of our side characters to gossiping like crazy the next day and let her feel it so that she gets uncomfortable.
She's feeling her first, I'm not the center of everyone's attention.
Yes.
And it's sort of weird for her.
confusing.
Yeah. You talked about Hugh living with another person in Bath.
Yeah.
Who's he staying with?
Ooh.
Why don't we flip for that?
I love that.
Is he a rake or is he not?
Well, I think it'd be really fun if he is.
I think so too. I don't even want to flip on that. I love rakes. You're talking to the 2 women who are endlessly obsessed with Henry Crawford.
Oh, I love him.
You know how this was going to go.
Justice for Henry Crawford. I love him though.
So, you know what? I've got some rake names, and since rakes tend to just be called by their last name, I've only done last names for them. So I've got number 1, Montague, 2, Radcliffe, 3, Cartwright, 4, Clifton, 5, Hawthorne, or 6, Warwick.
Oh, I have favorites already. Here we go. I don't like that one. Hold on. Checker.
That is Warwick.
Ooh.
Do we like that?
I like, ooh, can Warwick be titled?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Viscount Warwick?
Lord Warwick. Maybe he's a cousin of
Hugh.
That's why he's staying with him.
Love that. He starts to go after Eliza as well.
Well, and maybe he's a little impoverished, but he's not telling anybody about it, so that's why he's after Eliza.
I love that.
So they meet at the luncheon as well. And he's like, oh, look, I've just seen this woman is eligible. She's got money.
Yeah.
She's just been shot down by my cousin.
Yeah,
so
and
she's
he
hurting.
swoops in
and
there.
I
I'm so
can swoop in.
sorry. I'm so sorry about his behavior. He lives with me. He's staying with me. Lord Warwick.
These sailors, like, they just don't know. I can't take him anywhere.
I can't believe that that's my cousin. How embarrassing.
So she's immediately, like, intrigued by this because some guy just stood up for me in like one of my darkest moments, which, you know,
Correct.
says a lot about Eliza. That this is her darkest moment. She's like, oh wow, like what a gentleman, you know.
I also want Mariah to be always clocking Eliza, but also understanding the bigger picture where Eliza doesn't always see it.
She and Colonel Dawes sort of fill that role.
Yes, it's a maternal.
They're sort of the parents,
role.
yeah. So now we're going to go into the break into 2. And this is when the big moment of, like, we've left the world of before and we're now on this new path. Should we pick another event then?
Sure. I think a promenade, maybe? This might be dumb.
There are no dumb ideas.
You know, they meet up again. He's a little cold to her again. And they're all just kind of walking as a group and they end up kind of behind them. Like, they decide sort of a, like, I don't like you, you don't like me.
Yeah.
We have to just be around each other. Let's just be pleasant. Oh, no, wait. What if it's to save her from all the talking, from all the gossiping?
I think it might make more sense in a Regency story for him to come up with this idea. He's seen that, like, gossip has come around. Maybe Warwick has said something to him and he's realized, oh, that's my fault. So when we're on a promenade, I'm going to walk next to her.
I love that. Wait a minute. What if the engine of this thing is like the gossip keeps building and building throughout the entire screenplay, and so it's just building, and you find out at the end that it's Warwick.
Oh, he's been feeding all of this.
Yeah.
He's been talking. He's basically trying to like steer her towards him. Yeah, so okay, so break into 2 then is they've kind of called a truce.
Yeah.
But we're not seeing any romance here. There's no chance of romance on the horizon for these 2. It was a misunderstanding. We've both gotten over it.
And she's like, of course, we'll be friendly, as you will be with everyone else. And he goes, exactly. And he's like, great. And then all of a sudden it's like, Fitzroy! And he just runs off because he's so popular.
A group of ladies has spotted him. Yes, I love that.
We were just recounting that wonderful story you were saying. You know.
Lieutenant, tell us about your ship.
Yeah.
Have you met Lord Nelson?
Indeed, my lady, I have.
So now we're into the B story. We're introducing the B story here. Is it maybe something between Mariah and Colonel Dawes? We've already introduced them. That way we don't have to, expand our character list too much.
Is it a Bebe?
Does Bebe enjoy the theater?
Maybe she's a little worried because she's not going to be able to mother Eliza as much, so that's why she's sort of pushing her towards marriage.
Yes. We also have James has to get married.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, okay, so we've got 2 B stories going on here. Why don't we name the fiancé? 6, Margaret. Her last name is Watson.
Good.
I kind of get a class difference there from that name.
I also get a class difference.
Maybe she's around Eliza's age.
Sure.
School friend.
Ooh.
Who's known him for a long time. What if Margaret is Eliza's companion, and so she's living in the house?
Yeah, I love that.
And he's feeling like I'm supposed to be protecting this woman. I can't go after her.
Right.
Maybe that's the storyline.
He's out dancing all the time, but when he comes back home, he just wants to talk to Margaret.
Now the fun and games section. Now this is my favorite part of any screenplay because you can just really go wild. Incidents happening one after another. In Pride and Prejudice, for example, you've got the Netherfield ball, Collins's proposal, Bingley leaving, Jane's going to London, and Lizzie falling for Wickham. Do we want to have a proposal from Warwick here, or are we saving that for a little bit later?
Yeah, I think you do, but she does her usual, I'll have to think about it. I would make Mariah not newly pregnant, but pregnant. Because I think there'd be something magical about like feeling the baby kick. That'd be a really sweet moment, and not something you see in a lot of Regency novels.
No, and that's the fun thing about screenplays and modern day Regency novels. You can get into things that Jane Austen never would have been able to touch.
I think that'd be really fun, actually, like some sweet moments between her and her sister about pregnancy, and maybe that sort of starts to sway Eliza a little bit.
Yeah, and she's sort of like, oh wow, I'm not gonna have this same dynamic with my sister anymore.
Yes. Oh, also, can we get kind of like an Emma, you know when she has the broken wagon? And something like that where they run into each other again where
so we've got like a nice moment between Hugh and her, and we're sort of seeding that chemistry.
Yes.
Well, you could do just a simple like turning my ankle. I mean, it's an Austen story. Somebody's gonna fall down and twist their ankle at some point. Or caught in the rain. That's also a standby.
Yeah. Maybe under like they get stuck in under an awning. And maybe this is when they figure out that they have stuff in common.
Maybe she's out with Margaret, they're taking a walk, and he comes to the rescue.
And Margaret's like a little like
you know,
just like turn around.
Eyebrows raised, yeah.
Back out into the corner. I'm not here.
Like, oh, look, a butterfly.
You know, they have nothing to say, and she just says something about like, I love the smell of rain. And then
something very sweet, and where he's starting to see her a little bit differently.
Yeah. Also, I have a weird image in my head, and somehow they end up on a boat together in a lake or something. And
I'm down for that.
Oars get lost.
We've got a little theme here. We got rain, boats, ships. You know, one thing that they really can bond over is that they're both the youngest siblings, overshadowed by their older siblings. The Warwick proposal, I think that should maybe come after the caught in the rain bit, because she's had a little bit of doubts, like, wait a second, there's something maybe going on here.
Yes, and it should be
with your cousin.
Highly public at a dance or the assembly room.
Maybe at the assembly rooms.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't had a ball yet, so a ball would be a good one.
What if like the gossip thing comes back? So like it's highly public, but she can hear everybody talking about like how she's turned down all these proposals, and everybody's suddenly remembering stuff that they had forgotten about. And
it could be, instead of a proposal, you could just have him asking her to dance twice, because that's kind of like a declaration of affection. She's debating whether or not to dance with him a second time.
Yes.
And maybe she says yes out of sort of like obligation and embarrassment, like she doesn't want to say no. That's that's who she was before.
She hears the whispers.
Maybe Hugh was about to ask her to dance, and Warwick swooped in.
Oh, Hugh.
And then Hugh sees this, like, oh, she's dancing with him twice. I don't have any hope now. You know, so it's like really sad.
Yeah.
He's getting a little dejected, so he dances with some of the other ladies.
Yeah. But not enthusiastically.
No, he's the marriage part of it is the fun is kind of over now.
What if they keep trying to dance? Like one wants the other one to dance.
But they don't know
never dancing, because the thing in Jane Austen is the dance, right? Especially in the movies, there's always a dance. What if there's never a dance?
Yeah.
Until the
I love
end.
That. Yes, and then you can have the proposal even in the dance.
In the dance! Oh, I love
it! Our next point is the midpoint, and in Pride and Prejudice, this is when Lizzie goes to Rosings, when Darcy proposes for the first time and is shut down, and Darcy writes the letters. This is a big turning point for the story, so we need to have a big moment between her and Hugh.
Right.
He's seen her at the ball. Things didn't go well, but they did have that nice moment in the rain.
Yeah.
Is he declaring his affections yet? It's a little early for that, because she would probably say yes.
Yeah, I don't see it as that. Well, what if this is the Warwick?
The Warwick proposal? Or
yeah.
He meets her promenading again. Or is he showing up at the house? He could show up at the house.
Oh, I think it needs to be public. I think
it feels like more his style.
He would make sure it was public.
I think he has suspected that his cousin is into her, and he's like trying to get there first.
Yes.
He somehow negotiates a way to get her alone, but in public.
Yeah, kind of in a corner.
And gives her this huge poetry-filled proposal, you know. He knows she reads, but he's picking maybe like all these poets that don't really speak to her, because he doesn't know her. And maybe we've seeded that earlier, where, you know, she's into...
Maybe it's a Byron thing. She's like, I hate Byron, and he just quotes Byron at her.
Right, she's like into Coleridge or whatever, and he's quoting Byron.
Yeah, I love that.
Well, here's my question also about the proposal. Is it an outright proposal, or does it, before he gets to the proposal part?
Yeah, make it like very clear what he's gonna do.
Like we know what he's gonna do, and she knows what he's gonna do, but she maybe stops it right before then.
Yeah.
This, you could have the twisting the ankle bit here. Oh no, I just fell over. James needs to take me back home.
Oh, I think that's great.
Now we have the bad guys close in section. This is sort of trouble on the horizon. We can see things brewing, and we know that there's drama coming, but it hasn't quite arrived yet. So this is when Jane returns from London, the regiment leaves, Lydia is going to Brighton, and Lizzie is going on tour.
Yes,
we're setting up for the big one.
We know stuff's about to go down.
Maybe it's a good point for James and Margaret to have their moment.
Yeah, so why don't we isolate Eliza a little bit? You know, Mariah gives a I don't have time for you. Look how pregnant I am.
She's going to Mariah for advice, and she just doesn't have the bandwidth to deal with it right now.
I love that. Well, because she can go from Mariah, and Mariah rejects her, and then she goes to find Margaret, and she can see James with Margaret.
Right.
You know, and then it's
oh man, my whole family, everybody's aired up and they're happy.
Yeah.
What about me? I like
so
that.
Maybe that's when Warwick pounces.
Yeah, and she has nobody to talk to about what happened with Warwick. Okay, so why don't we have the whole group is going on a big day tour to Blaze Castle. Let's just steal that straight from Northanger.
Love it.
Eliza is isolated, and she doesn't want to ride in the carriage with Warwick because she knows the proposal is coming, and he can engineer it. But it's her avoiding it all day because she knows that if he gets her alone, it's game over, and she has to say no. And what happens then between her and Fitzroy? Yeah. Because this is the all is lost moment here, we have to have her make a big faux pas, or something has to go really wrong on the outing. This is the moment in Emma where she insults Miss Bates. Yeah. Maybe she does something to insult her sister, and Fitzroy sees this and is like, oh no.
Yes, because family's so important to them. They're so close-knit. What if it's she announces James's engagement in kind of a gross way?
Maybe he hasn't even proposed.
Oh.
And she's just like, we all know what's going on between you and Margaret, and this is going to happen, and you're going to get married. Margaret is so embarrassed. She can't even handle it because she's sort of a shy...
Well, and somebody can say something maybe it's something about the class difference.
Maybe that's Warwick. Maybe Warwick is on her side and egging her on like Frank does to Emma at Box Hill. Then you've got Fitzroy seeing, is she who I think she is? This is not the woman that I thought I was falling in love with.
Well, and Fitzroy can stand up for Margaret and just kind of saying while I don't think any choice has been made, Margaret would be a fine choice for any...
So I think that's good for a Dark Night of the Soul, because now we have not only... has she sort of allied herself unintentionally with Warwick, but Fitzroy has now sort of moved off of her.
Right. And she's just isolated from everybody.
Yeah. When Warwick's proposal comes, is it sort of one of those, should I say yes? Maybe she does say yes. Is this a flip the coin situation where it's a yes or no, and we can have a Fanny going back on Crawford's proposal?
Do it.
Or
do it.
Emma rejecting Elton?
Do it.
Heads, yes. Tails, she says no.
Oh.
What? She says yes. I'm excited about this one. Fitzroy is just despondent. And Eliza's not happy, but she thinks, this is my only option. That's our break into 3, is her accepting the proposal.
Can we get them on a boat in the rain?
Oh, we absolutely can do that. Yes.
Because it isolates them, it lets them talk, and they can yell it out or whatever.
What if we have her going on a long walk, because it's Jane Austen and our heroines are going to be walking in the rain.
Love it.
And she gets isolated where she has to take a boat back. And Fitzroy is rowing along. Maybe it's not raining. Maybe it's just a summer day. And she's fatigued. And he comes by, and the gentlemanly thing to do is to escort his cousin's fiance back to town.
Oof. Ooh. Can he say that? Because...
Yeah, yikes. So she's upset, she's in love, and she's marrying the wrong guy. Now she's stuck in a hot summer day, out in countryside she doesn't know. She sat down on the bank of the river, and who comes rowing along but Lieutenant Fitzroy. So we've got them in the boat.
And I really want a moment of I don't want to be here, you don't want to be here, it can't get any worse. Goosh, and it rains.
It's very much I'm silently rowing.
I'm mad rowing.
Angry. This is so irresponsible of you to come out here alone without an escort,
Yeah.
Do you know what could have happened to you? So he's just lecturing.
Yep.
And she just, I think she just breaks down, right?
Yeah.
Because what would you do in that situation? I think you'd cry.
And then he'd have to feel awful about making her cry.
Right. So we've got this is sort of the Emma and Knightley moment where he's told her badly done, Emma, and the next morning she's gone off after seeing Miss Bates. She's come back and he says he's leaving.
There's a delicate and perplexing matter that I must discuss with my brother. Yeah, it's that moment.
Yes.
Maybe in the boat he's like, my opinion doesn't matter, I'm leaving. Well, and can she leave him with something like, well, you've made quite an impression?
Maybe he comes up with like, well, you will be family shortly, and maybe she's just like, I wouldn't bet on it, you know? Somehow hinting that she's going to turn down work.
Love that.
So the next part would be her going to work and calling off the proposal or the engagement.
I think she's got to go to her brother and her sister first. It's got to be an apology tour. She's got to admit that she needs help to get out of this engagement.
Yeah, and I think she has to admit all of her feelings at this point.
Well, to her sister, to Mariah, she needs to lay it all out.
I'm feeling isolated. I don't know what to do. You've been a mother to me. I'm no longer like the center of your world. Same thing goes with James and Margaret.
I don't want to be engaged to Warwick.
But I don't know how to get out of it. That'll be 3 broken engagements.
Yes.
Before 21.
I'll never survive that.
You know, maybe we have money and respect, but it's going to bring you all down. I'm going to take one for the team and marry Warwick. And they say absolutely not.
Yeah, they stand up
on no account. Now
and
she's
James
got the family back on her side.
James can give her, like, I don't care if you're an old spinster and live with us forever. You have a home and we love you. And she's got to apologize to Margaret. And Margaret's like, you were just, like, half an hour too early. We did get engaged. And everyone's like, your family.
Well, like, maybe you're losing a fiance, but you're gaining a sister kind of thing. Where, you know, like, you do have this huge family and we all love you.
That's so sweet.
I'm not leaving you. James is not leaving you. We're just moving into a different stage of our lives.
Yes.
So now she's got to reject work, and I think this one has to also happen in public.
Yes.
So we have the one final ball. That's what's coming up here because we're into the finale basically.
Yeah.
How do we have the Warwick thing go down?
Oh, she needs to find out something scandalous about him, right? We had said originally, like, maybe he's the engine of the gossip. You know?
Oh, that's right, yes. Maybe someone says something that she only told him.
I wonder if it's like a lady's maid.
She overhears the servants talking.
Yes. And she's like,
Like, that's something that only he would know because I told him in confidence.
Yeah. Is it like a test? Like maybe she did it on purpose?
Oh, that's smart. I think she could do that because she is very smart.
She like figures it out. Maybe it's something about her parents.
Yeah.
And then she can just very loudly say that's absolutely not true. How dare you, sir?
They know like who my father was. Yeah.
Right. He gets his comeuppance in public. And maybe she's got to like go outside to catch her breath for a second, and then Fitzroy is there, and that's when she's like, "Would you like to dance?"
Oh, I love that.
Oh, maybe she's like, "I owe you an apology," and he's like, "I think I owe you an apology."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Would you like to dance?"
I think though he needs to see that she has made amends with her family first. So maybe. During the whole war shutdown thing, you've got Margaret standing by her side, and James and Mariah and Colonel.
Yes.
They can say like, you know, we know our sister and she's a good person and
I love that.
And so he's seen that, so he says, oh, she can apologize for her actions. She is the person I thought she was.
Yes.
So he asks her to dance, and he owes her an apology. She owes him an apology. It's kind of awkward at first, but then it's very sweet. I think he needs to pull something from the start into the proposal. So we need like a callback.
Oh, it's the dumb joke. It's the dumb joke from the luncheon.
Oh, it's the no respectable man goes into the Navy?
Yes.
So if you think no respectable man goes into the Navy, do you think I would be made more respectable with a wife like you?
Yeah. Oh.
Something like that, you know, cheesy.
So dumb. I love it.
We've got the big proposal. Everything's going great. She says yes, they're in love. Aww. And now we just need the final image. We can either have a wedding or we can just do like happy families. The baby is here. The big kiss.
Oh, yeah, you need the big kiss.
We could end it at the ball with a big kiss, or we can have a wedding and a big kiss, or whatever.
I mean, I think, why not have the wedding, right? The baby's
they
there.
Married on the ship.
Margaret's married.
I think they have to get married, and it's got to be water-oriented, so they're, like, on the dock, getting ready to go on the ship. That's a little persuasion-y, because the 95 movie ends with them on the ship. I like this. Okay, so, I mean, this is basically the full story here, so we've just plotted an entire story.
Right, and we literally did it by starting with character, just like Jane Austen, and then sort of building a world out from there.
If you guys want to use this for your own stories, I'm going to link our options for the names and the professions in a worksheet. It'll be in the description box below.
I've never used a coin flip to decide things, but this was very exciting, so maybe
This is not how we usually work, but honestly, I think it was more effective than the way that we usually plot things.
It worked really well.
I'm thinking that the next script that we work on together, we have to use this method.
Well, now I want to work on Eliza King. I want to.
Yeah, I actually kind of do. I want to see where this goes.
Right?
So this is obviously just a first draft. Things will change. New characters will come about. Maybe motivations will change. You don't need to be married to your first draft.
Correct.
But this is just a great starting off point,
right?
And that's what it's all about.
Well, and so much of this process is about getting excited, seeing where you get revved up, where you get turned on. Like, what do you want to see and do and hear, so that you can follow that thread. And I kind of like Eliza. I've gotten a little attached to her in this time.
I like it. I love her and Hugh, and I think it's a really cute.
Also,
love story.
A fondness for Mariah.
I love them all, to be honest, except for Warwick, obviously.
Yeah, what a rake.
Thank you so much for joining us for Choose Your Own Austen Adventure. We really hope it helps you in your own plotting.
This was a lot of fun. So thanks for joining us and hanging out with us.
We just want to say a big thank you to everybody who volunteers with Virtual Jane Con, Bianca Hernandez Knight, for setting it all up.
Yeah.
It's such a great program, and please do check out the rest of the Virtual Jane Con panels. You'll be able to see them in the Virtual Jane Con playlist.
Yeah, and if you like this, if you hated this, if you have opinions on this, like, you can find us online. I'm at Kim Kalish.
I'm at Austin First Drafts. You can always send me a message. And I would love to hear your opinion on Henry Crawford.
Always.